Middlesbrough railway station, how it was meant to look, and how it used to look. Local historian and assistant curator of Middlesbrough Museums and Gallery Service, Ian Stubbs, explains.
The station itself was designed for the North Eastern Railway by William Peachey. It opened in 1877. Another man involved in the design was William Cudworth, who was the actual engineer for the railway company. It was likened to the railway station at St Pancras in London, and of course the stations themselves in the 19th century were the equivalent to the Middle Age cathedrals in Britain, the huge great reminders of what life was about and how important buildings were.
During World War II, every major town and city in England was bombed, and Middlesbrough was no exception. During a particular raid, Middlesbrough railway station was changed forever.
It took place on Bank Holiday Monday afternoon, the 3rd of August 1942, and the station itself wasn't as busy as it would have been had it not been Bank Holiday weekend. People weren't going to work, it wasn't a sort of work day. And it was just after 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and a Dornier bomber that had actually come along up the River Tees had released 4 bombs, 2 of which bombs hit the station. 2 of them actually went in the street behind the station. The main down platform took a direct hit, and a number of the buildings on the station were damaged, as was the train that was sitting in the station waiting to go to Newcastle. The whole great glass roof had to be taken down. It was a huge, great arched and cast iron structure with glass that had to be removed following the damage. There were major damage to the platform itself, all of the station ancillary buildings, mainly the site occupied now by Zetland House.
You look to the right and the clouds of dust and smoke, because things were burning, you see.
Sat in a cinema at the time, Don first heard of the attack just moments before the bombs fell.
The drill for informing the audience that there was an air raid was the theatre manager came on the stage and announced that the air raid sirens had sounded. And at that point, there was a terrific explosion. You couldn't go towards where the bomb was. The police and the air raid wardens would have it cordoned off. You had to go the other way. So there was no chance of going down and having a look.
The target of the station was obviously it was about moving equipment around the country. The big marshalling yards at Thornaby were actually also a target, as was Middlesbrough Docks. The docks wasn't too far away from the railway station, and both were major targets during World War II. In fact, in the collection we've got some of the photographs that the German reconnaissance aircraft took of the area, so they knew actually what they were looking for.
Despite the carnage left by the solo bomber, services through the station weren't affected as badly as the Germans had planned.
Within 24 hours, the services were back up to normal on the freight trains, and the following day, passenger services were resumed again. Obviously, it was important to keep things moving. To have Britain on the move during the war was important, so they had to get everything sorted out and cleared away and get on with it.
As with most disasters, however, came the loss of lives.
There were 4 people who were members of the public and 4 people who were actually members of the railway company. All the names are actually on the plaque at the station. 4 of them, the railway staff, were a fireman, a laboratory attendant, somebody who worked in the catering, and another man who worked on the station. Perhaps the most poignant story was that of James Binks, who actually, when we unveiled the plaque at the station, it was his granddaughter that unveiled the plaque. And also the sad story about his dog, the pet dog Scamp, that used to wait for him to come home from work every day, and pined that much after he was killed during the air raid. They had to have the dog put to sleep, unfortunately.
Today, just over 60 years on from the bombing, Middlesbrough railway station holds very little resemblance to the monumental structure that William Peachey designed back in the 1800s. Some of the roofing and exterior buildings remain, but the station is evidently in need of repairs and improvements. TransPennine now hold the franchise for the station, and Nadia Rocha, the station manager, explains the plans for the future.
There is plans in the future to improve the surface, the floor surface of the subway, the lighting, to fit CCTV cameras, etc. And a general tidy up. It is in quite a bit of a state at the moment, but unfortunately the station has sort of been left, has been neglected, I would say, for the past 40 years really, and it just needs a bit of sort of tender loving care and a big injection of cash at the moment. We're also putting in extra lighting in all the car parks, We're putting in extra waiting rooms, heated waiting rooms on platform 2. So, you know, we're willing to put a lot of investment into Middlesbrough, and hopefully people will see improvements in the next couple of years.
Only time will tell to see if TransPennine do invest a lot of money into this station and make it a place once again the people of Middlesbrough can be proud of. Obviously, it will never be restored to its former glory, and for the time being at least, Middlesbrough continues to carry the scar of its war years.